The early Borderlands 4 reviews are in, and it is exactly as I expected. Needless to say, it's bad. It is really, really bad. There are a lot of early Borderlands 4 reviews currently in, and it is from the most dedicated, most selected crowd that you would expect, okay? It's Mr. Matty Plays, Skillup, Fixtra Life, Luke Steffens, and all of them do the exact same thing. Every video is pretty much exactly the same currently. I was allowed to do an early impression of Borderlands 4. This is a sponsored video by 2K, but don't worry, they said I can say whatever I want. We all know what that means. And even though they can say whatever they want, none of them actually say anything super bad about it. But all of these reviews have one thing in common. They say that the game is, well, it could be better. Which means it's bad. It is probably so much worse than we expected. It's hilarious.
I played Borderlands 4 early and well, I liked it, but let me start with a big thanks to 2K for sponsoring
And sponsorship. I liked it, but 2K this is a 2K sponsorship.
this video and literally asking for my honest thoughts on this. I'll start with some positive.
And there we go. Again, all of these videos are always the same. All of them are exactly this. Oh, don't worry, they lathered me up like a piglet. But my opinion, that doesn't impact my opinion. Bro, if I ever do any of this stuff, you know my opinion is impacted because I want to see that money in the future. You know I am saying not the heinous of most things because I want to be there to say the next good thing in the future for money, okay? You know this is reality. And anyone who thinks otherwise, well, life's gonna be tough, buddy, for you.
Positives, then I'll dive into the negatives, all of which I was able to directly tell the developers immediately after completing my play session, so they know and they say that they're working on things. Now, I played Vex first, but I was stuck using an Xbox
This literally, by the way, sounds like Mind's Eye.
controller. I'm not really familiar or comfortable using those. I'm not used to having a D-pad below my left thumbstick. I'm used to having it above my left thumbstick. So it's important for you to know that some of this early gameplay is me just fumbling on the controller trying to figure things out. And the location of that D-pad is really important for one of my negatives for later. Now, eventually they did bring me a PlayStation controller. They didn't have to do that, and I didn't really ask for that, but I'm glad that they did, and that made a world of difference for me. So big shout out to the folks at 2K who went out of their way to not only find a PlayStation controller for me to use and then plugged it in so I actually could use it. Now, let me just say, Vex is fun, and the gameplay is so much.
Bro, we just saw you flip a battle, it did nothing. This is by the way one of the things I predicted, that the battle mechanic, neat, but almost never useful.
Fun that I literally forgot to use my action skill for a good chunk of my footage at the beginning. I'll have a separate video about both her and Rafa's skill trees and potential synergies that I think could be amazing coming up. Now, next, the movement felt amazing. Gliding is smooth and it becomes second nature extremely fast. Grappling is great, but it did take me a little bit longer to adapt to because
Grappling and gliding and the movement is probably gonna be the absolute highlights of this game. But, I mean, from just 1 minute 30 seconds of the gameplay and shooting, it does seem mediocre, doesn't it, at best?
that's stuck on my melee key. So I'm used to only pushing melee when I want to punch an enemy in the face. It takes a little while for you to kind of get the feel of like, oh, okay, I can grapple that. And then
Also, the damage sponge potential here is also kind of insane.
you know, it just becomes second nature as well. You can also grapple some objects in the surroundings and then throw them at enemies. I nailed a double kill with this one and it felt amazing. I got to swim a couple times. I didn't see any options to dive underwater, so I don't think there'll be any like underwater or exploration, maybe in a future game or something, but it is nice to like be able to touch water and not just instantly die. Also, I didn't see any negative effects to swimming other than you can't shoot and you're largely defenseless, but I did notice that if you jump up out of the water, you pull out your gun. You can also grapple directly out of the water, so that's beneficial too. Now, later on in my gameplay, I found a throwing knife and I fell in love. Hitting a lesser mob in the head with a throwing knife almost always led to a kill, and it reminded me a lot of the Borderlands 2 fastball grenade. It rewards you for being accurate, and the punishment for missing it is the cooldown on your ordnance. It's a fair and fun balance in my opinion, and more about ordnance in just a moment. The mission flow felt good. I finished the story mission, I killed the boss.
This was one of the things, by the way, that I got wrong at the start. Initially, I thought that there's not going to be any blood.
Fair and fun.
But there is. And there's some red blood. But, you know, this is... If the blood's not going to be red, or it's not going to be some giant crustacean or whatever with, like, blue or green blood, I don't care. I don't want this. I mean, this is so boring. Why couldn't... At least they have some red blood, I mean. But this is disappointing.
And more about ordnance in just a moment. The mission flow felt good. I finished the story mission, I killed the boss, I had some great dialogue that fans of Borderlands 2's humor will like, probably. It's enjoyable, basic mini-boss type stuff. Rest assured, I actually encountered this boss.
Absolutely no way. If there's one thing you're never gonna sell me on, it's the idea that the writing, the humor was gonna be anything even close to the old Borderlands franchises. Okay? There is no way. And that is the most blatant lie ever. That's probably just... Okay, listen. I'm gonna explain to you how these marketing deals actually work, because I have done them. So, when he's none of the things that he has said so far are a lie. He can say whatever he wants to say about the game, but that doesn't mean that this deal does not mean that he has to say a couple of specific things, or from a drop-down catalog of specific things that he wants to talk about. Those are mostly the sponsor type of deals here, and this is most likely one of the points that he must say. That the game is like Borderlands 1 or 2 when it comes to writing and humor. That's probably it. That is probably it.
Boss again as a random world boss, it seems, so here's his footage of that. As far as the open world goes, there was plenty to see and do. Exploration is literally rewarding, as you're gonna find vault symbols. Yes, those are back, echo logs, and other interesting things. I encountered a mission where I was beamed up into a spaceship and I was instructed to essentially just break everything, but this was also inside of an area where enemies were tougher than expected, so I died without successfully completing the challenge. Echo 4 is a nice way to just pull up a direct path for the current mission or objective. I'm not a big fan of like just saying draw me a line to where I need to go, but at the same time I can appreciate that that will be extremely helpful for a lot of people, because with this being open world, it's going to be easy to get off your beaten path and then be like, oh crap, where am I supposed to go? The customization is deep. You can customize your Vault Hunter with multiple body types. Again, so far there's only 2, it looks like, at launch.
Where are the dreads?
Loads of head options to choose from, lots of skins. You can even customize the look of your Echo 4. SDUs are purchased on the menu, and you use whatever this currency is right here in order to level these up. There's pros and cons to this system, but it does keep you from abusing the lost loot machine from a previous playthrough to just buy all the upgrades on a new character. Speaking of lost loot, the lost loot machine is returning, and that's a positive thing. With the skill trees being deeper than ever, I think it would benefit the game massively to let players respec for...
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, yeah, this is kind of a funny thing. Yes, this is way deeper than any Borderlands skill tree ever was, but it's still not actually deep, okay? This is just a giant fugazi. Look at this. Fell inscriptions. Inscriptions, not encryptions. Encryptions would be cooler. Inscriptions. Melee damage, 6%. Maximum health capacity, 6%. Your next skill tree and its complexity When you're smart enough to pick 5% instead of 4% damage? I mean, yeah, I mean, more slop is better than not enough slop in this case. I would definitely say, but I mean, if to say that this skill tree is like unique, interesting, or whatever the fuck is kind of. I mean, Mr. Pandaria called and they want their talent points back.
Free from anywhere. Now, time really got away from me, which is a good sign for the fun factor of the gameplay. My time in each section just absolutely flew by. Now, ordnance is grenades or launchers slash heavy style weapons.
Dude, currently this definitely looks like some Starfield type of combat. But you have to enter, you know, pretty much use up all of your ammo to just kill one enemy.
It's one or the other, never both simultaneously. Now I'm kind of like on the fence about this, but I'm not really a launchers or grenade kind of player, so for me it's good either way. And I love throwing knives. I have a feeling that some people will love this change and others will hate it. Now the group of people that I played with was pretty unconcerned about the change. Most of them actually liked it once they got used to it, but no more launchers, only allegiance, not without being super slow and painful. There is a cooldown anytime you use up your ordnance, so keep that in mind. I think it's like 20 seconds between being able to use ordnance again, so that's going to make doing a launcher only playthrough really slow. Some other positives real quick: the item synergy in this game is going to be crazy fun. I actually like the heads up display that's on the main screen. However, I'm not a big fan of the inventory menu. Having the XP bar go around your level is nice, and it takes up a lot less of the screen. We're definitely in cutscenes wearing whatever we've put on our character, so that's a nice addition as well. It feels like you're part of the story this way. And once again, just like in previous games, anytime you level up, you get a damage bonus for a short time, so that's nice. Now for the negatives. And listen, we were on a build that was already nearly a month old. Some of my issues might have already been
Yes. Then what's the point? Listen, this is one of the most common lies about this crap you're ever gonna hear. Oh, we played this game and the developers wanted to hear our feedback. Okay, sounds nice. We played on a month-old build of the game, or half-a-year-old build of the game, so the real one is actually even better than this one. So what's the point of giving feedback? What is the point? Yeah, the everything about Borderlands currently is filled with lies and deception. It's not looking good.
addressed by the time this video goes live, but it's important that the developers also hear from you guys about your concerns. So if anything that I say or show you here is of concern to you, then please speak up. Leave a comment here, tag Gearbox on Twitter, but please always be respectful in your critiques and give them actionable feedback. Saying I hate blah 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 is pointless. Say you
No, it's not pointless. You are a consumer. Your job is to just say that you like it or not. If you don't like it, you don't have to write an essay with screenshots about what they need to change. You just say you didn't like it. You just leave a negative review wherever. If you don't like this video, hell, the dislike button is there for a reason. Press the like button though and subscribe and comment something positive. Otherwise, I will Minecraft myself. That's a joke. Wait, YouTube doesn't care about Minecraft. Ah, my Steve character. Oh. You are such a great guy. Anyway, yeah, you're not supposed to give positive feedback. Whoever tells you, oh, you can only give positive feedback, is afraid of actually getting feedback. Never fall for this. Don't allow them to shame you for something as simple as your feedback, because it's not like they want it to be. That's pathetic.
Could improve blah 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 by tweaking XYZ or something like that, you know what I mean? As an example, I'm not a big fan of the compass, as you guys might have heard. Overlapping information is too cluttered and it's too small at the top of your screen to be valuable in high-paced combat, so that's pointless to me. A solution would be simply adding the option for a mini map that players can toggle on if they want it, or toggle it off if you don't want it. In heavy combat, I shot non-player characters and I had trouble identifying enemies quickly. The fog of war is real, and the compass is little to no help in combat. If anything, it's demonstrably worse for combat in every conceivable way. This isn't
Bro, these NPCs look retarded, by the way. That's insane.
just my take on this, by the way. Literally every creator there that I talked to said the exact same thing after their play session. Some of them even came to me and said, dude, you're right. Not having a mini map is rough. Randy Pitchford had said, play the game, not the mini map. But while trying to follow mission objectives using the compass, I found myself just playing the compass several times, trying to stay headed in the right direction. I ran into obstacles because I was trying to make sure I kept the compass pointed in the right direction. Now, you can mitigate some of that by using the Echo 4, and it'll give you like a path, but then you're playing look at the line on the ground and it's holding your hand. If you think gamers hated having yellow paint on ledges or ladders, wait till they complain about this totally optional thing. I like Echo 4. I see the value of that system. I'm just saying some people get mad about the dumbest stuff. I also found the compass actually marred.
By the way, I love game development as a whole because of these useless things like, oh, yellow paint so people know where it is. Then how did people find where to go before the yellow paint? I mean, people somehow fucking managed. But because some research team that was paid by someone to find a solution for a problem that didn't exist said, oh yeah, you can actually just put like yellow paint right there and it's gonna be fine. And they got their money and they skedaddled. Now they have destroyed a whole goddamn industry because people believe this bullshit. Oh, it's insane. Dude, if you have money and you give someone money to reestablish the opinion you have, they're going to reestablish the opinion you have. That's how these things work. Yellow paint on ladders or whatever was never actually useful. It was never actually supposed... It never did anything. And yet, because someone just felt the need to improve things that don't need to be improved, now we have yellow paint.
My experience with navigating elevations as well. In the story mission we were on, I genuinely could not tell what way I was supposed to be going because the compass is a jumbled mess of overlapping information. At best, it just tells you if you're going in the straight line towards something. But if you're in a building which has hallways and twists and turns, the compass is very, very unhelpful. A smaller complaint, but one that kind of blows my mind, is they don't appear to have the auto sell rarities option in the settings. But there's a ton of settings, so it's entirely possible that I just missed it. They do, however, have pick up as trash, but that literally just picks up the item and marks it with the trash can icon, which allows you to then go to a vending machine and sell it. Why they didn't keep the auto sell rarities feature from Borderlands 3 that they added 6 years into the lifespan of the game is as baffling as the mini-map stuff, frankly. It literally makes no sense to me to not include it, but again,
it makes perfect sense because this is a game made by Randy Pitchford and he's a retard.
Again, this is an early build. It's possible that it's in the final release. God, I hope so. Speaking of removed features, no photo mode on the version that we played. Now, this one's extreme.
Dude, this is 100% something that's also in the deal of the sponsorship. You gotta tell people that there's no photo mode because we know that people really want photo mode. Photo mode is like half of every game, right? Dude, wait, who? I have never met a person who actually legitimately cares about photo mode. I haven't. Have you? No one cares about photo mode. This is only something game companies for some stupid reason care about. No one cares about photo mode. I'm not buying this $80. Well, I'm not buying this $80 pile of slop in general. But I'm not buying an $80 game because it has photo mode. Like, this has to be. This is not serious.
Extremely baffling. Photo mode is wildly popular with the Borderlands community so that they can see their character in their gear in various maps and locations. It was there at the launch of Borderlands 3, and it's possible that they'll have it by launch of Borderlands 4, but on this build, it was not in there. Something they absolutely have to address is how long it takes to respawn on death. You spend 7 seconds in the dying animation while Echo 4 looks over your dead body, then almost 6 seconds in the warp tunnel, and then another 7 seconds showing the animation of respawning. That's right,
That's
I read
bad.
all that in the time it took me to respawn. Trying to use the rep kit with a controller is a little bit tricky, especially a controller that you don't like, so I constantly hit down on the D-pad when I needed to use a rep kit, which is left on the D-pad. You can adjust all these button layouts, but ultimately something has to go on the D-pad, and I'm not a fan of potentially dying because I accidentally swapped firing modes on my gun instead of healing. Here's some quick negatives to add in.
Bro, these environmental damage things are such a fucking massive failure. You can already tell. Because the reality is, in the time that it takes you to pick up it, throw it in the direction, and explode it, you can already empty 3 clips into your enemy and be in the next goddamn zone.
To the other things, the modifiers system is kind of back in a way. Some of the badass enemies will have a feature on them that will show like a modifier beneath their name, and I count 24 modifiers at this point, and only one of them is remotely positive, and that's the experienced modifier, which appears to give you more XP when you kill that enemy, but I could be wrong about that. We need more time with the game to be sure. Ultimately, the positives for me far outweigh the negatives, but the negatives are things that should be addressed as soon as possible because they are substantial.
Dude, these are the negatives? Literally a giant nothing? Really? Boys, this game is gonna be the best thing ever if these are the negatives. Holy moly, macaroni! Wow!
And potentially harmful for the overall sentiment of the community towards the game. Once you dive in and play, it's a ton of fun. My initial gut reaction, however, is of mild concern, and I hope that my concern doesn't fall on deaf ears. It can't be stated loudly enough that the removal of the minimap is absolutely detrimental to the overall experience. This isn't about me being right about the minimap. This is about Gearbox taking away a feature that is extremely valuable for combat and knowing your immediate surroundings.
It's actually not valuable for combat. You're supposed to fucking use your eyes to figure out where you should be. But but the mini map is an important thing, honestly. I like compasses, don't get me wrong, but you know, I'm not trusting also Randy Pitchford to design an open world area that actually supports using a compass in the first place.
Replacing it with a compass system that has too much information, often overlapping one another, never giving any indication of the enemies that just spawned in behind you. Sure, if you have quality headphones, maybe you can hear those spawns, but what about those people with hearing disabilities? So I enjoyed what I played.
Oh yeah, what about those 0.1%ers? How about not make the game all about them? Well, anyway, that was Killer 6, 10 out of 10. Bye!